Hi all. I hope you guys have written answer to today's question. So this will be our last ethics class for this session, and I have taken up two case study. Our program will be ending January end. So if you guys are still writing, please keep stretching it for the last few days. Also, get your answers evaluated on Collector Babu's platform. And again, brace up for prelims and all the best. In case you have any doubt, please feel free to post it in the comment section below and we'll try our best to respond and give you a way forward. Okay, so let us start discussing the question. Let's go to today's question. There were two case studies, both of them PYQs, and we'll try to find answer to those questions. Okay, so here is the question. I'm not going to read the whole question. It is in your screen. I'll be waiting for 1 minute, read it, and then I'll read only the questions and not the whole case study. Okay, so let's focus on the question. Basically, there are two questions. The first being discuss the ethical issues involved in the case, and the second is critically examine the options that are available to you as a vice principal and what options will you adopt and why. Okay, so what are you going to write? You are going to write about the basic stakeholder conflicts there are in this case study. So you can make a box and hub and spoke model and write all the stakeholders which you can find in this context. You can talk about school institution, you can talk about the flying squads, you can talk about the parents, you can talk about other genuine students. Okay, you can talk about the vice principal himself, you can talk about the principal, you can talk about local media. Okay, so there are many stakeholders involved in this case study. Make a hub and spoke model and write it down. So let's answer the first question, which is what are the core ethical issues involved? So the core ethical issues include, so you just don't mention the ethical issue, you in points or in sentences, you try to explain how what you're thinking as an ethical issue is actually an issue involved in the case study. Okay, so here you'll talk about institutional integrity because by the students who are cheating and the protests they are on, it has led to compromising institutional integrity. So the college reputation is at stake. Academic standards and exam sanctity are compromised because the students are cheating. Then again, potential systemic corruption in the examination process, because this might not be the one-off incident, but might be symptomatic of the larger systemic corruption within the educational institute themselves. So, what else? You will talk about individual or accountability. For example, here the senior lecturer showed professional misconduct. Okay, and then students who were cheating, then again they showed unethical behavior, and there was violation of academic integrity principles. So also, as I had suggested earlier, that in the introduction part, you can either write stakeholder or the other is you can write any other quote which is related to education. Okay. For example, while studying the role of education in building ethics and morality, you might have actually studied a few quotes. For example, you could use Kothari Commission's quote that the destiny of India lies in her classroom. Okay, or you can use that education without morals would make devils. You can talk about Gandhiji's seven sins. Okay, so even any either of the three is a way to introduce your case study. Okay, now what else? So we talk about systemic pressure. So these are also the ethical issues, because there has been mismanagement and potential compromise of ethical standards and influence of local political and business personalities, also the implicit threat to career progression. So all these show that there was systemic pressure built and the institution is crumbling. Now, again, what are you going to do? So the second question asks you what are the options available, and you have to do it with pros and cons, because it asks you to explicitly critically analyze. So one option would be completely cover up. Obviously, you're not going to do this, but again, this is an option. What would this benefit in? This would benefit in immediate protection of institutional reputation, isn't it? And then maintains relationship with influential stakeholder, and it would also prevent potential short-term embarrassment, right? What else? So there are multiple cons as well. The first con being that it completely compromises academic integrity. If you're having a college or a school, what's the whole use if you cannot emphasize on certain academic integrity? Then it risks future ethical breaches, because this is a slippery slope. If today this happens, tomorrow something else will happen. And then potential legal and regulatory consequences. Also, it undermines institutional credibility. It violates professional ethics. Okay, so these are some of the cons which the first option would result in. Then let's try and look at the second option. The second option is that you can compromise partially. So what would this result in? That it would allow some face saving mechanism. It would minimize immediate stakeholder backlash. It would provide flexibility in resolution. Okay. And then it would result in some cons as well, like the perception of systemic corruption erodes institutional trust and negative message to the students, because the other students have been harmed who did not engage in cheating, but potentially relatively they have been harmed. Okay. And then because it sends a message that honesty and hard work does not pay, and people can use shortcut measures like cheating and political influence to get the way about. This is not what a school or a college should be teaching. So the core idea of education has been done away with, has been quashed. So what else? Then third, you can talk about there has to be a transparent investigation, because this would uphold academic standards, demonstrate institutional integrity, create deterrence for future misconduct, build long-term credibility, and align with ethical leadership principle. But there are also risks that your promotion prospect will be jeopardized. Okay. And then potential stakeholder antagonism and short-term reputational risks as well. Then comes the fourth option, which is use this selective disciplinary action. So this would ensure the madhyam marg, or the balanced approach, which demonstrate that there is administrative pragmatism, provides controlled resolution, and minimize immediate institutional disruption. Also, it might be perceived as politically motivated, because why not, the actions have been taken against the student who are cheating in the examination. And then it would compromise the principle of equal treatment, because there are students who engage in such activity and they in a way got away with. And then it would undermine procedural fairness, because there should be equality. Why should the people with political influence or business acumen and wealth should be treated differently? Article 14 says there should be equal treatment. And then it would risk creating future precedent for future manipulations. What would be the recommended approach? So here, as a vice principal, generally speaking, you should take the stance only, which is you have to conduct an utmost transparent investigation without any regard to or any bias in favor of your future promotion, because promotions will come and go, but integrity is something which is related to your character, and you cannot, for the sake of short-term benefit, make certain exemptions or do some cover up because there were students with political influence and power. This is not how education should be, because college should teach equality. College should be society in miniature, and those values that are cherished and upheld in society and looked up to should be propounded in the college system as well. So you will conduct a transparent investigation, and you also have to justify why you have taken that step. So you will say that whatever I just said, and also you can add this, that while seemingly most challenging, this option seems to provide maximum long-term institutional and ethical sustainability. It transforms a potential crisis into an opportunity for systemic reform. Exactly. And this would reinforce institutional integrity and create a culture of accountability. The key ethical principle you're upholding is that procedural fairness should trump short-term expediency. You can not only look at short-term goal and set wrong precedent, especially in matter like education, where you're creating future India, future country, future citizens. You cannot do this. So you have to, or you can just conclude by saying, like, if earlier you have not used quote and you have used stakeholder pattern, then in the end use a quote. If you have used quote earlier, then in the end just conclude by giving your rationale. Don't do it twice. Okay. There you can just say that integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. That's C.S. Lewis said. Or you can talk about many other quotes which are along the same line. Okay. Now read the second question, and I will give you some time. It will be on a screen. Read it, and then we'll be discussing the question. Okay. So you read it. Now, wait a minute. Yep. So you read it. Now I'll scroll it so that you can read further down. Okay, so there are 4 questions. Let us read it one by one. First is, under the given conditions, what are the options available to you as a project manager? And second, ethical dilemmas. Then professional challenges likely to be faced by project manager and his response to overcome such challenges. And then you will talk about what are the consequences of overlooking the observation. See, you have to talk about the options that are available to you. But again, because you have 4 questions and the case study is lengthy and you have to answer 6 case studies in examination, you cannot evaluate each and every question options here. You can just mention it briefly and move forward to the next question. Please do not try to examine each and every option available. Give weightage to the time constraint you have and the word limit. Okay. And you have to answer all the question. You cannot just write one question very good and other question substandard. Okay. So in this context, you can just use a quote, which is, your work is going to fill a large part of your life. And the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is a great work, by Steve Jobs, right? So this is a very good quote which will guide you even in your life, even now, even when you become a future civil servant or anything. It will guide you because you have to truly believe that what you're doing is the good work. What you're truly doing is for the right reason. Okay. So let us try to answer the question, which is, what are the options available? The options available are, the project manager can just follow the chief engineer's order. What will this result in? That continue the project without addressing the cracks, ensuring timely completion but compromising safety. What have we done here? We have written pros and cons as well, but only one pro and con, and not making the chart of pros and cons, but just written it in sentence format, because we do not have a lot of time and space to address each and every pro and con for all the options we have. Okay. Then you can escalate the issue, report to the higher authority, such as the secretary of the PWD or the chief minister's office, and this would emphasize safety concern. Then seek a third party structural audit, okay, which is a good option. And then refuse to continue without repairs, which would you would insist on demolishing and reconstructing, where you are prioritizing structural integrity over met deadlines because the lives of people are at stake. Then you will talk about the use of media or the whistleblower mechanism, but ensure that this is your last resort. Don't go about using media or whistleblowing. This should always be the last resort. And then, if the internal measures fail, seek legal protection, because you have to believe what you're doing is the good work. You have to believe that you are doing something for a cause. And if that cause itself is compromised, then yes, you can go and even seek whistleblower mechanism. What are the ethical dilemmas? Obviously, it is integrity versus compliance, because as a prof- as a project manager, it is your duty to execute the chief engineer's order, right? Now then, what will you do? There is public safety versus political pressure, personal duty versus career growth, and transparency versus nepotism, because fighting favoritism in awarding contracts and ensuring quality standard, because this was done in the case. Now, the third question, which is professional challenges and response. The professional challenges he is facing is that there is pressure, political pressure, and administrative authority, pressure from political section and administrative authorities as well. So he has to tackle through strong documentation and insistence on structural safety audits, which means that you always have to have the backup and evidence, and structural safety audit is a must. Then there's this contractor resistance he is facing, which is again leading to clashes. What he has to do now, he has to ensure that there is strict adherence to quality standards and explore legal recourse, but only if needed. Then there are time constraints. Propose alternative methods like rapid reconstruction techniques while also maintaining safety. Because once you have done with you are done with the audit, and you have done the repair works, and you have ensured the structural integrity, then timeline is something that can be even compromised for some time. And also you can bring in other capital and labor to fast track it. Okay. Then threat to career growth, but he has to ensure that integrity and legal support, he could seek support if it is needed, if there is some unjust consequences to the right thing he has done. What are the consequences of overlooking the issue? The consequence is that there is structural failure, okay, risk of collapsing, endangering lives, and which would lead to public outrage. Then legal and criminal liabilities. If any accident occurs, including the project manager, he may face criminal negligence charges. He knows, so that he has to ensure that the lives of people are not compromised for mere deadline and nepotism and favoritism. Then loss of public trust. It erodes public credibility in the government infrastructure projects, and reputational damage, permanent stain on the careers of involved engineers and policymakers. And the most important is loss of human lives, and how human life is just reduced to number. Okay, if any such issue does happen, then it is, as a project manager, my duty to prioritize public safety over political pressure. I have to take a firm stand, document all my concerns, and escalate the issues to higher authority, ensuring that the project is completed ethically and safely. Okay, we're done. All the best, and all the best for all your future endeavors, and take care, and good luck. Goodbye. We are having just 3 more sessions, and please keep writing answers for the last few days. I urge you all, and it will surely benefit you all. Bye bye. Take care.